Hazbin Hotel is a pilot from the mind of Vivian Medrano, about a ragtag team of sinners, with the daughter of Satan trying to bring the good out of hell. As interesting as that is, instead we're going to focus on the spin-off, Helluva Boss. And you'd be correct in saying, huh? What? Yeah, a side series pilot to a pilot. Wild stuff. Even wilder is that I'm filling in for daftpina, as he's getting surgery soon for his ribcage. And since on my channel I don't often talk about current things, this is a nice change of pace. Hello? Oh, it looks like Daft is out this month. This is my time to shine! I hope you liked the cutaway of what happened 10 seconds before the video started. And within this video, we, extra guest later on, will show fundamentally why Helluva Boss works better as a pilot than Vivi's previous work. This is Helluva Boss. Unexpected Hope. Released October 28th, 2019, Hazbin Hotel premiered on YouTube with much fanfare, with their Patreon reaching over 4,500 patrons and a lot of outsold merch. About a month later in November, Helluva Boss aired and reached number 1 on the YouTube trending page, which is a big deal considering that it isn't a storytime animation. Both pilots revolve around two different groups, with one focusing on the good and the other focusing on the bad, with cuss words flying everywhere making it a staple of the series. And above all else, I'm glad to see that both of these pilots actually got finished and delivered within the time frame they were slated. Insert joke referencing cans out labels here. The hard work of the animators, voice actors, and overall production won't go unnoticed. However, that won't stop us from criticizing this work, as it's fair game for being animated by a studio. I mean, you don't see too many people defending the hard work behind the Garfield movie, so let's take everything with a grain of salt.
My life has been saved by the miracle of lasagna.
Far more eye-pleasing than the cast of Hazbin Hotel, except the trope of skinny characters doesn't escape this pilot. This is to note that in hell, furries exist. And I'm not saying that's jarring, but it's jarring. With 3 of the main characters being imps, the drastic change in appearance for the 4th character makes her so much of an outcast you'd think Vivi just wanted furry bait within the show. The background characters of Hazbin Hotel were creative with their designs, and so interesting to look at that just plopping a furry into the mix just feels like her shoving an OC that she couldn't put anywhere else. It's also good to note that Blitzo's design was reworked from the previous pilot.
Hi there, I'm Blitz. The O is silent and
So I will give props to Vivi for taking time to make a character feel more interesting, while also keeping the designs a bit less cluttered, which was a problem with the previous work. Humans are actually shown in this, and I'm not sure I entirely agree with the art style, or styles. Such is the problem of Vivi and making everyone look interesting. Everyone looks interesting as if they're going to be reoccurring characters, or just that she wanted to put colourful hair on everything. Of all the humans within the short, I'd say the ones at the end feel more realistic within the universe. But this is to mention in this scene. These characters are actually the artists themselves within their work, and even these painted stills clash with the final design of the humans. But that's all subject to change. I wouldn't put it out of the ballpark that she'd take time to redo the humans as well, since Vivi was able to take time to rework Blitzo.
the O is silent.
Learning a lot from the previous collaboration of artists, Helluva Boss was more consistent with the animation, but the issues were also more inconsistent. Storyboards are a great way to keep track of everything, and having dailies to make sure everything is on the right path leads to complete and seamless animation. Since there's a giant paywall for the behind the scenes, we're gonna assume best faith that they did do that, which makes me wonder how these following mistakes happened. The remote changes with one button to many as well as a colour change, the gun in this scene changing from a shotgun to a sniper rifle, inconsistent colour with the pupils and teeth, this one scene where they forgot to animate legs as this ledge makes them visible, and of course small things here and there, such as the window scene with inconsistent blinds, and Luna's proportions changing drastically. What is also destic is this ad read from Dashlane. Gosh darn it, the worst thing that happens after you pass away is those dang old password thieves trying to log into your Family Guy online account. Whatever will I do? Well, signing up and downloading the desktop app of Dashlane gives you a shortcut in everything you do online, such as logging in instantly, breezing through forms, and breezing even more through checkouts. I think this is a cool service to use. Solutions like Keychain and Chrome lock you into a single system, so your passwords and info are trapped in one place. Sort of like how I'm reading this ad read, but luckily it's a good product. Sign-in solutions like login with Facebook can misuse your data because they make money from collecting it, selling it, and using it to annoy you with ads. Dashlane never has access to your personal data, and won't use mind games to convince you into subscribing. There is no credit card required at sign up, and it's an always ad-free product. With over 11+ million users in 180 countries, if your socks aren't knocked off yet, it's endorsed by a few of these companies. And even me. Not a company. Download Dashlane for free on your first device by clicking here, and automatically get a 30-day free trial of premium. No credit card required at sign up. Now while I go download the Dashlane app, I'm going to let a very special guest friend do the next section, see you afterwards.
More recently, I've been kind of pushed more into like script writing fast, and it can be good. Like if you have an idea, sometimes just sit there and take a day to like draft it all out. But writing out a first draft in one go is probably like an okay idea to start off, and then you can build from it, and then you can go back, read it.
It's like sculpting.
Go back and read it a second day and go like,
I'm the guest previously mentioned. My channel focuses on character study a lot. So hello, I'm Quinn Curio. It's nice to pretend to meet you. As you may have noticed, because it vibrates in every pixel of her work, Vivi frickin' loves her OCs. She reads the bedtime stories every night, and as a result, they've grown up big, strong, and almost emotionally adjusted. But even passion can become dangerous. For you see, every frame of Has-Been Hotel and Helluva Boss is a race against the clock to breathe life into her bow-tied babies, or else they are condemned to live only in her mind palace forever. You don't meet the characters so much as they are machine-gunned into you. This ripped to ribbons Has-Been Hotel's pacing. That show wanted to be serialized and set up character arcs, so it was stretched thin. But in Helluva Boss, that passion and energy is weaponized into something that works with the show and not against it. Helluva Boss appears to want to be episodic and radiates Family Guy vibes. In fact, both pilot episodes feature the main cast sitting around a table and referencing their respective humorist past, with what we now call cutaways.
Face it, I'm going to hell.
So, if it's episodic, it doesn't need arcs or a super complicated plot, at least not right away. It mostly needs a setup, and it has one. However, you could argue it needs to be built on more. The immediate murder professionals need more business so they can get more money, but why do they need the money? I doubt we're gonna go into great detail about imp poverty, so maybe a time-sensitive goal can be added next episode to raise the stakes. Vivi does solid characterization work, and I find her characters to be memorable and birchable. I have some suggestions for improvement. The characters can still come off as samey because on paper their dialogue is very similar. In this show, Millie comes off as noticeably different because her southern accent shifts her dialogue around.
Are you trying to crush his dreams, Moxie?
What?
I thought I knew you.
And Moxie is less prone to cursing and begrudgingly injects respect into his sentences, giving his dialogue the most unique flow in the show. Awesome use of Richard Horvitz, by the way.
Nobody actually likes the jingles.
I liked it.
Do not agree with him in front of me.
I just think everyone needs their own vernacular and naughty words to shine independently, so in my opinion, you should poke that envelope just a little further. And a small note, one of my favorite types of swear jokes is when a character begins a chain of never-ending bleeps that lets your imagination run wild. But there's a time and a place for that joke, and it's just not in this pilot.
I want to choke on that red of yours. Your and lick all of your before taking out your and with more teeth until you're screaming.
If you think about the joke too much, it doesn't make sense because all the characters are constantly swearing and nothing can be said here that won't be said later. How are you gonna say the fuck and then bleep out the dick? You dicked that up. What the fuck? Hello, Quinn Curio. If this gag lasts longer than 30 seconds, I'll scream.
Hey, did they say it?
Say what?
You know, that naughty N-word.
No. I don't think so.
Ooh. Yeah, 'cause Nimrod is such a bad and mean word for hell.
Well, I'm out of time. I'll put you back in Mark's three-fingered hands to finish the video.
Hopefully by this point you can see why Helluva Boss is fundamentally a better pilot compared to Has-Been Hotel, from the fact that it has a self-contained story. And unlike Has-Been, Helluva Boss actually has a runtime suitable for television. To me, these pilots are good examples of what to do and what not to do when creating a pitch. But even with all the issues we've had with these pilots, it's still great that they both got released. But now what? Is she pitching these to a network? Is she asking for more funding to make another episode or pilot? Let's head on over to our Patreon, as next to Twitter, that is the best place to learn more about our business model. The first thing to note is that despite creating an animation studio, Spindlehorse, this is by means of the sentence, her personal Patreon. Now it has been quite a while since it was updated, as within this paragraph she mentioned currently in production. referencing Hazbin Hotel. You'd assume she's talking about the series as a whole, but she's not. Looking over at what is Hazbin Hotel, there is an air of, this needs to be changed, as she mentions, the project will be in my style and will be as fluidly 2D animated as possible. It will include multiple songs and is nearing its final stages of production. What's next after Hazbin Hotel is the section I was most curious about, as I wanted to know the fate of the series. So let's pretend like I'm giving her money to produce more Hazbin Hotel. I mean, that's what she's setting out to do, make more Hazbin Hotel. Instead, no. Part of the money from this Patreon is going towards cartoons based on our old webcomic, Zoophobia, and an unnamed, super secret demon cartoon, now known as Helluva Boss. Well, alright, is there gonna be another Hazbin Hotel episode? No.
All I know is that we don't want to just spend another couple years on another single episode. We want to make a full season of this show. And there are so many possibilities on how to do that, with how amazing the reception has been. I'm confident that I will have an answer to those questions in the upcoming months, whether it be a season we try to crowdfund through things like Kickstarter, or funding with a studio, or getting officially greenlit.
You can read the rest of this on your own, but to me I'm not sure about the future of our projects. Oftentimes pilots are hidden from the internet, as companies don't usually like when the first idea is out before the final one. There are a few exceptions to that, such as Adult Swim's pilot program letting people vote for what they wanted to see, and even just the pilots leaking online one way or another. The Hazbin Hotel brand has a lot of potential, but if you were, say, Comedy Central, and wanted to buy the TV rights of Vivi's work, you'd realise there's already a bunch of material already out, so if any and all changes could occur you might anger the fanbase, which potentially leads to lower viewership and sales of merch. There have been properties that overcame this, such as Star Wars literally making most of their previous stories non-canon, but that's an extreme comparison since Star Wars has been around for over 40 years. Worse to think is the case of Making Fiends, which was an online series sold to Nickelodeon, thus making it so the creator, Amy Winfrey, cannot produce any more content with that IP. Perhaps you might go to the route of Verve featuring your series on that service, but doing so leads to contract issues. As I hear around the grapevine, once you sign to be on there, your cartoon is on there for an extremely long time. As much as I am a fan of Helluva Boss, and to a lesser extent Hazbin Hotel, as a pilot I'm worried about the future of the IP, as releasing comics instead of animation might not be what our fans wanted when they got into this. Ending on that note, next year will be exciting on this channel, as well as ours, so go ahead and subscribe to see some more content. Have a fantastic rest of December, and I definitely recommend this cartoon for later. I'm LS Mark, and I hope—
My daft senses are tingling. There's someone in my room.
Oh shit!